There is no worse feeling than playing Apex for hours on end every single day and still not seeing any improvement. In this video, I'm going to cover the strategies and the concepts that I and many top level players use to break through plateaus and improve their skills. One of the biggest factors that can hold you back from improving is your ego, and I fall victim to this as well. Whenever we get eliminated, we immediately start to make excuses for why we lost. They had better armor, they third-partied us, or my teammates just suck. Even if these things are true, focusing on what you can't control will do nothing except send you into a downward spiral. Instead, every single time you get eliminated, I challenge you to reflect on what mistakes you made. Maybe you could have had better positioning. Maybe you could have sized up your opponents better before taking the fight. Or maybe a little bit more communication with your team would have helped out. And honestly, even if you win a team fight or an entire match, there's always something that you could have done just a slight bit better. The first step to improving is recognizing where you could improve, which is why you need to throw away the ego and consider yourself a student of the game. When I look at almost any player from bronze all the way up to masters, they're almost all making this one common mistake that is keeping them from improving their skills. And it's simple, they aren't challenging themselves. You wouldn't go to the gym and lift the same weight with the same amount of reps every week and expect results. And it's the same if you're trying to improve at Apex. If you were going through the same motions every single time you play, your skill level will plateau and you will eventually start to get worse as you pick up bad habits. If you want to improve at the game, you need to start putting yourself into challenging situations. When I load into the match, half the time I get teammates that drop on the outskirts of the map, loot for the entire game, and then die to the last team. Then they almost always start questioning on how they aren't getting any better. Well, sit down and ask yourself, how can you get any better if you aren't actively putting yourself into gunfights? Even if you're playing for 6 hours a day, if you're only fighting 1 to 2 teams per match, you aren't going to be getting much practice at all. That's why I almost always recommend to play more aggressively. It's definitely going to hurt your stats and win percentage in the short run, but in the long run, you're going to be a much stronger player. That's also why I recommend playing duos and trios instead of ranked for most players. On the surface, you might think that ranked is actually a better challenge, but unless you have teammates that push every single fight, you will likely spend the majority of your time looting and hiding in buildings. When I personally play in Masters or even Apex Predator lobbies, I can physically feel my skill diminishing as I'm taking nowhere near as many gunfights as I do when I'm running around in pubs. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to avoid ranked whatsoever. All I'm saying is that if you want to start improving, you need to start challenging yourself. So either play more aggressively in ranked or add some pubs on the side. Even if you are actively challenging yourself, I find there is one strategy that can improve your game a lot: the Proto Effect. You learn more from teaching others than from seeking knowledge for yourself. I personally do this by making YouTube videos like the one you're watching right now. Compiling all my knowledge solidifies it and commits it to my memory. And it also reveals gaps in my knowledge so I know where to put my focus into. Now there are a few different methods that you can follow if you want to utilize the Proto Effect. First, you can make educational content, whether it's on YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, or really any platform. Second, you can live stream. I love this method as you're going to be getting asked a lot of questions, which gives you a direct opportunity to teach your viewers, and it will quickly reveal any weaknesses you have. Third, teach a new player how to play the game. This will force you to break down the game into its most simple components and will help you master the basics. If you want to teach some players tips and tricks on Apex, or if you want some advice yourself, join my Discord channel linked in the description below. We currently have over 500 gamers in the server, and it's a great place to be if you want to be part of a welcoming community. But even if you do use the Proto Effect, you might still fall victim to a trap that holds many players back from their full potential, and that's focusing on their strengths and not their weaknesses. You see this all the time. Players notice their movement might be pretty good and they hyper focus onto movement, or they might have good aim and then they spend all of their time aim training and wonder why they aren't ranking up. In reality, you don't need to be exceptional in any specific skill to reach the highest ranks in Apex. Even myself, I'll admit I don't have the best movement, I don't have the best aim, and I don't have the best game sense, but I do have a decent level of competency in each category, which makes it much better than if I specialized in one specific category. Think about it, you can be a complete movement god, but if you're missing all your shots, you aren't going to be winning the match. Or you can have some insane aim, but if your positioning is terrible, you're not going to be doing too hot. What I recommend is to record some of your own gameplay, and then watch it back and try to spot and count all of the mistakes you make and which category they fall under. Whichever category you find the most mistakes, you should put all of your focus into that if you want to improve. But even if you do expose and focus on your weaknesses, you aren't going to be getting very far if you don't prioritize consistency. Like anything in life, consistency is key if you want to surpass your perceived limits and improve. And Apex is no different. The more consistent you are, the better you will become. Think about it like this: if you play a little bit each day with the intent on getting better, you may only be improving by like 1%. But 1% every single day adds up quickly. And in only 3 to 4 months, you should be technically twice as good of a player. It's sort of like a snowball effect. You will start out slow, but every day that you stay consistent, you will be building up momentum and the progress will start to stack on top of itself as long as you stay on track. And this doesn't really take up a crazy amount of time. Even just a 30-minute session each day will keep the momentum going and will also keep your mechanics from regressing. Now that you know that consistency is essential if you want to see advancements in your skill, you have to have some sort of structure to your routine if you want to be improving. Sure, you could just log into the game each day and load into trios, turn your brain off and shoot. But honestly, that is what 99% of players are doing, so there is no way you're going to be able to set yourself apart from the average player. Even if you completely no life to the game and spend hours every day playing, Apex Legends released over 5 years ago. And the best players have been playing the game for the entirety of those 5 years, sinking thousands of hours into the game. So there's no way you'll be able to catch up if your only strategy is running around with your gun like everybody else. You want to start adding more layers into your improvement strategy. You can add aim training, which will help improve your aiming skills much faster as you don't have many opportunities to improve it in battle royales like Apex. 1v1 practice, which will quite literally make winning gunfights so much easier. Movement practice, but be careful with this, as many players tend to get reliant on movement and end up with bad positioning in the long run. Watching your gameplay, this being hands down the best way to spot your weaknesses in your skill, which you can then focus on improving. Even better if you can hire a coach or a friend to watch it with you and point out mistakes that you might overlook. And learning from YouTube videos like this. I think watching educational Apex videos is highly underrated as there is so much downtime whenever you're searching for a game or spectating your teammate. And using that time to learn something new is a great way to utilize all the downtime you have. You also don't know what you don't know, which is why you want to be exposing yourself to as much helpful information as you can. Use these layers to build a routine you can follow for an extended period of time. I would say around 2 weeks. Then after those 2 weeks, reassess how you were improving and what you were weak at. Then you can adjust or recreate your routine to better align with your goals. What I love to do is give myself a time period, usually somewhere between 7 and 30 days. And I challenge myself to stick to a task each day until it becomes a habit. And I just find it makes it a much more fun process, which it should be. It's a video game. I've done this with aim training a few times in the past, both on controller and on mouse and keyboard, and those are by far the times where I've seen the most improvement in my mechanical skills. So now I challenge you to pick at least one of the layers I mentioned and do it every single day for at least 1 week. However, there is another aspect to the game and your mental that you need to keep on check, and that is your confidence. If you want to be the very best player that you can possibly be, there is a very fine line that you have to be on in terms of your confidence. If you don't have enough confidence, you will never put yourself into challenging situations and you will just simply play worse. But again, it's a very fine line in confidence that you're aiming for. If you have so much confidence to the point where it becomes arrogant, you're doing nothing except setting yourself up for failure. You probably already know where you fall in the confidence spectrum, and I highly recommend you keep this in mind whenever you find yourself getting scared of the competition or you start blaming everything and everyone except for yourself. This video is going to help you break through skill plateaus, but there is so much more to know in the game, which is why you need to watch this video of 101 Apex Legends tips and tricks. And I can guarantee you will learn something new from this video. And if you already watched it, YouTube thinks you would like to watch this video up on the screen now. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video.